such that unless you're doing something like using some of these tools and analytic abilities, the extremely large data sets, I used to get scared at a terabyte worth of data. And we would generate, last program I was on, over about a month or two, a terabyte of data, and a lot of tests, and we had to chew through that. And I ran into a program that in one test was generating a terabyte of data. And I was like, what do you do with that? Well, they feed it into tools like SAS and MATLAB is the answer. And it really changes their testers to be much more scientific. So they had to learn a new set of skills on that. So as we get these extremely large data sets, whether you're generating them with testing, or as I talked about this morning, we're going to be getting data streams coming off of the actual systems in use. This is just what it's going to be. There will be a constant stream of data getting recorded off. And what I advocate is that we as testers need to get access to that data and start figuring out how to use it both in our test planning and our analytics. Now, if you're generating terabytes worth of data, you're not going to visually flip through that. You're going to have tools, maybe AI. You're going to have something like SAS or MATLAB that can chew through that stuff. And so a lot of IT investment these days is going towards managing that in the cloud and things like that, and server farms. So even if you're not directly thinking that you're on the cloud, you may someday have projects that are, which is going to put you using that kind of computing. And then finally, you heard the gentleman just before lunch talk about IB&V, verification and validation. You can blame me for some of those things. I participated in defining some of those things here in Malaysia, along with other people. But in IB&V, we have another kind of term that we throw around. You heard, I think John also mentioned analysis being different from analytics. Analysis is looking at the data that's already happened. Analytics is the data that's happened, and then looking real time or into the future. V&V, we have something called analysis, which can start with the data, but can also start with looking at things like requirements, design, test planning, those kinds of things. And again, I apply it to systems, hardware, and software. I know most of you are software testers, but I'm advocating really strongly that as you move from software to these bigger pictures, you need to be thinking systems testing, the big picture kind of testing with the analytics and all those things. You're still going to be software testers, but I always viewed myself, the things I worked on, is I was a system level software tester on things. And not testing, we tested the minutia also, but by the time we got it testing the whole system, it was on the hardware, it was on the system, it was on the network. And so here are the things like simulation, modeling, statistics, and math. I'm not going to teach those. And there's something known as formal methods. The model-based world that I'm currently supporting supports, to a limited extent, what's known as formal verification. And again, those are outside of the scope of this class or even tomorrow's class. But that's stuff that someday, if you continue on with this, you'll probably end up looking at those. So who does this analytics stuff today? We mentioned this morning a little bit, but people I've seen using it already are the marketing and sales people. Obviously, because they want to make more sales. They want to know who their customers are. They want to know which platforms they're using so they can push those platforms out earlier. They do a lot of things to make sales, which, by the way, is good for us because of the things you're using, whether they're government-based or industry-based, you want them to use our products and continue using our products because then we come along and get to generate new products. Now, my college students would always be a little bit disappointed because I told them most of us spend most of our careers fixing and maintaining existing systems. They march on forever and ever, and they were like, we just want to do new development. And I was like, new development's fun, and I've done it, but you get to a certain point in your career and you want job consistency. You want to stay employed. Nothing like a good long-term project that goes on for years or decades. And some of the systems we've got out there, in banking and many industries, they've been around for a while, at least some of the core things. Future products in DevOps, people want to know where's the market going. You look at a company like Facebook, they had competitors out there. I can't remember who was one of the, My Time or something like that. They had several competitors when they get started. Huh? MySpace, thank you, young guys who know this. By the way, I'm not on Facebook, but that's for security issues and things like that. And we won't go there. But I know a bunch of other security experts that aren't on it either for the exact same reason. I used to think I was paranoid until I ran into them. No, you're not really paranoid. And so, but future products, okay, kind of coming from the marketing and sales, if you can go, yeah, you know, MySpace had a cool idea, Facebook aged them out on a cooler idea, you know, then Facebook had to figure out, what did Facebook have to solve the problem on? Anybody know? It was early on, they had to figure out an ad revenue stream. Lots of ads there now, right? You know, but why do they do that? That's how they make money. How do they stay in business? They make money. You know, just as the world we live in. But, so future products, you know, that's something you want. Management, they like numbers and things like that and analytics. But usually the analytics they like, I don't care about. You know. Stock price. You know, is it going to stay in business? Yes, okay, then I have a job. You know, is it going to go out of business? No, maybe I need to update my resume. Maintenance projects tend to look at these things of, you know, where is the analytics taking us? And that's got a particular name up here. Predictive maintenance is the fancy name for that kind of analytics. And what predictive maintenance is, it's not so much on the software side, but it's on the system side and things like that. And I'll give you an example of what predictive maintenance is say I'm like, is it UPS around here, or what's the package delivery company? Oh, there's a package delivery company here, I'm sure. But they have trucks, right? You know, and they have guys running around with little computers, scanning everything, handing your package. Well, what predictive maintenance is they want to know when those truck tires need to be changed. Because if they've got a truck out there and it gets a flat tire, those packages don't get delivered, they lose money. So, and it could go to not just tires is one example, but in analytics with, you know, predictive maintenance, these systems now will say it's time to fix this. It's time to you know, update this compressor or change the tires. And it sounds crazy, but the data shows that if you can keep the resource, truck in that case, up and running, you make more money. And this is back to the management thing of, are we making money? So things like predictive maintenance, traffic in KL is kind of terrible, isn't it? I come here once a year, that's my experience. But you know, predictive maintenance also goes into, have you ever sat at a stoplight while the other side is green and there's nobody on it? Is that annoying? It's kind of annoying, right? You know, it would be, as we work on smart cities and things like that, the better alternative on prediction is to have traffic systems go, oh, I should turn this light green sooner, and not just have a dumb timer. Now, true story and this kind of thing. There was a city, small suburb in Denver where I live near. I don't live in Denver, big city. I live way up on a ranch. They started doing one of these smart city things where they came in and they put cameras on all the red lights in town. People freaked out. And I guess it's why people were freaking out. They thought it was to get traffic tickets. Because we have red light runners, and so they were like convinced that the government was going to start issuing lots of tickets and things like that. No, it wasn't that at all, although somebody in the government then had the idea, oh, we can do both. They probably had that, but really it was so that they could have, these smart roadways, so that people would spend less time, sitting with a green light, not doing anything, and everybody waiting behind the red light. That's predictive stuff on these things. But, so all these people are starting to try and figure out how to do these things. But my experience is, not many of you, maybe some, but most of you aren't like thinking, how can we use analytics and data now to improve our testing? I know I talked about it this morning, but one of the things they tell us in training is tell them what you're going to tell them, then tell them, and then repeat what you told them. And somewhere about the third or fourth or fifth time, maybe some of you will get tired and go, well, I'm going to do it because Hager's always beating me up about this stuff. But as I told you this morning out there that I've talked about, you need to do continuous black box testing, as I showed, guarantees, adversarial examples, something called symbolic analysis methods. If you don't know what that is, catch me later. That's a pretty complicated subject, but it's in the modeling world. Refine as you go along, and recognize these AI systems, if we start seeing them, they're going to get big and complex, is my bet. And I'd really love to see somebody doing that. When will this change? I get that question. And as you were kind of saying, this is in the future stuff right now, okay? And yes, we don't know how to do this. Yes, I know people come to these things going, well, what's the answer? What's the tool that's already out there? It doesn't exist yet. That's why you all are going to have fun jobs in the next few years. IBM Watson, the data side will have that, I believe. The autonomous vehicles are out there, but I told a funny story this morning. I guess it wasn't funny for the person who killed it, right? Data analytics and analysis is everywhere and growing. One of the, I think Laura next door shows, I think the number 7 or 8 best job these days, at least in the U.S., is data analyst. And so you want a good career move out of testing, go learn data analysis, which would be statistics and this AI kind of stuff. They can't fill those jobs. By the way, they have a hard time filling the testers too. DevOps and Agile, and I know Eric, maybe it was John, said model-based testing is not there yet. It's starting to be. I know several companies, and I work with a group in the object modeling group in Europe doing model-based stuff. It's out there and appearing in the world. I know Airbus is using it. I'm not sure about Boeing. I haven't had contact with them for a few years. But the model-based stuff is definitely happy there's tools out of it. This is one of the future predictions of hot things that Gardner produces. It's a couple years old now. Data science, big data, and content analytics. That's what we're talking about. Those are hot fields. If you want to move your testing career, stay a tester with these things, I think you'll have good jobs. The challenges for this stuff, I'm still worried about security, privacy, and legal issues. Yeah, I know I beat on that one, but that's just probably my own paranoia. But so far, on like the security stuff, I've been right, all along. I used to tell people on the embedded side, be afraid of security. All my embedded friends go, it'll never be a problem. Then a little virus called Stuxnet came along, and its son Dooku. Nobody argues with me anymore. neural networks, learning weakness, and how to verify and validate them. That one scares me. The volume of the data, that I don't know how to deal with terabytes. Validating the data, and I hope you're getting the idea this morning and now you all need to be working on your tester skills. I continue doing that, and I'm mostly retired, so yeah, you got to keep doing that stuff. And getting access to the data, that may actually be an issue, particularly if any of you are working in medical, any kind of life-critical things, government, and or financial things. There's all kinds of restrictions on how you access data and data cleanliness, because those are all what are called regulated environments, and you have to be very careful, like with, at least in the US, with people's medical records, because